Have you ever noticed that as you begin to change, you begin to pull away? It may not be dramatic, not in a way that you can easily explain, but subtly you respond a little less. You need more space. You don't feel the same desire to engage in the way that you used to. And at first, you might not even notice it. But then one day, it becomes clear you're not showing up the same way anymore. And that realization can feel kind of confusing because there's a part of you that starts asking, why am I doing this? Why do I need space from the people that I care about? Is there something wrong with me? If you've ever experienced that shift where you find yourself pulling back without fully understanding why, just take a moment to like this video and subscribe, because this is something that many people go through during change, during the process of evolution, but very few people are actually talking about it. And I want to talk to you about this in a very real and honest way, because this is one of those experiences that can feel uncomfortable, especially if you've always been somebody who is connected, available, present for others. And suddenly that changes. And instead of feeling like growth, it can feel like something is wrong. So I remember a time where I started noticing this in myself, and it wasn't intentional. I didn't wake up and decide I'm going to pull away. It just happened gradually. I started needing more space. Conversations that I used to engage in easily started to feel like effort. And I remember questioning and thinking, why didn't I feel like talking right now? So just take a moment. Have you ever felt that? Where something that used to feel natural suddenly starts feeling like it takes a lot of your energy? And many people may interpret it like this, like a disconnection, avoidance, withdrawal, and they may even judge themselves for it. They think, I shouldn't be like this. I need to stay connected. But what's often happening is something very different. Your nervous system is adjusting. And when it begins to change, it naturally starts to reorganize your energy. You are no longer distributing your energy in the same way. You become more aware of what feels draining opposed to what feels aligned, what requires effort. And that awareness changes how you show up. So I remember feeling this internal conflict. There was part of me that wanted to maintain some connections, to be the same version of myself, but another part of me that just needed space. And those two parts didn't always agree. Just notice that. Have you felt pulled in two directions, wanting connection, but also needing distance? If you have, it's because you're stepping out of a familiar identity, the version of you that always showed up, that always engaged, that always responded. And that identity feels safe. And when you begin to change that, fear can show up. And it's the fear of losing people, of being misunderstood, of hurting others, of being seen differently. Your nervous system is learning how to conserve energy, to create space, to shift out of old patterns. And that process doesn't always feel comfortable. So there was a moment where I stopped trying to force myself back into the old way of being. And I allowed myself to just step back. And in that space, I started to see things more clearly. What felt aligned and what didn't. What I had been maintaining out of habit rather than out of the truth of who I am. See, space creates awareness, and awareness creates clarity. But you only get that clarity if you allow yourself to step back. So just take a moment again. And what would happen if you allowed yourself to have that space without judging it? So pulling away is not always the same as avoidance. Sometimes it's adjustment. You don't need to rush back into connection. You don't need to force yourself to be who you were. You are allowed to evolve. And there are times when this kind of transition can feel difficult to move through on your own. And if you ever feel ready to explore that space more deeply, I've created environments where this process can unfold with support through private retreats and through the books that I've written. And you'll find those pathways linked below, only if it feels right for you. So you're not becoming distant, you're becoming aware. And that awareness is part of evolution, it's part of evolving. So go ahead and take care of your nervous system, and I'll see you in the next video.